Many people often wonder what they would do if they were given enough money to live comfortably for the rest of their life. What would you do if someone gave you $100 or a job that you couldn't be fired from no matter how bad of a worker you are? What would you do if you got big enough on YouTube that any amount of effort you put into your channel and your content would be enough to pay your bills for the rest of your life? Wings of Redemption is a YouTuber who has answered this question by saying, "I'm going to coast and do nothing productive until the day I die." The internet is no stranger to the one-hit wonder types of stories. YouTube channels who blow up in popularity and fizzle out only a short time after. Oftentimes, it's easy for the content creator to believe that their success will always be there, until it isn't. What happens to those poor souls who briefly touch greatness only to fall back down to earth? If the content creator wasn't smart enough with their money, there could be plenty of grave consequences. For example, they might have to get Sorry, as a YouTuber myself, I fear these words. For anyone in the audience who may also be a YouTuber, this is your trigger warning. One of the grave consequences of falling off as a YouTuber, I'm sorry, is this too much? You might have to get a 9 to 5. But thankfully, no one on YouTube has ever had to get a real job after making it big, like working at Clark's or McDonald's. Or DoorDash. Wait, I didn't do that. Wings of Redemption is the type of person who would never stoop so low as to get a 9 to 5 job. He's a big YouTuber. He's got plenty of enablers, I mean fans, who will gladly donate money to him if he manages to make a big enough fool of himself. But who can blame him? I mean, if you lack self-respect and your fans are willing to support you for almost nothing in return, then why not take the money? Now, who would do something like buy channel memberships, right? That's stupid. I will repeat that line again. Now, who would do something like buy channel memberships? Buy channel memberships. Wings of Redemption's status as a lol cow is what keeps him afloat these days. And for someone who clearly isn't interested in putting in the effort anymore, it's really sad to see this trap he's created for himself. And yet things were not always like this. How does someone amass nearly 500,000 subscribers on YouTube just to dash it all away over time? How does a fan base change its creator so much? This, dear viewer, is not a story of redemption. This is the story of the cannibalization of Wings of Redemption. Geordie McCarty Jordan was born on April 21st. Hey, look at that. Happy birthday. 1986. Wings of Redemption grew up without a father to a very poor family. He dealt with a vicious cycle of bullying, weight gain, and more bullying. But the thing that started him on this cycle, according to Wings himself, was that he used to be the fastest runner in his school until a European kid joined his school and outran him. This story caused him to eat more so that he could put on muscle. But to his shock and dismay, it just made him fatter. Geordie, along with the greatest scientists of the time, were baffled as to why his health was declining despite being a star athlete. Eating a nutritional calorie surplus diet, the bulk was going crazy, but the cut just seemed more and more distant as time went on. With his hopes and dreams dashed against the rocks by these unforeseen and completely unavoidable circumstances, Geordie gave up running. It is kind of insane just how much this single action says about Wings' character throughout his life. Before he started doing YouTube, Wings of Redemption was just a normal, everyday guy. His life wasn't exactly interesting or exciting, but it was the most stable it had ever been. He had constant work, was earning good money, apparently this was around $1,000 a week, and he was actively earning his way through the world. Things were looking up for Wings, and that was when life decided to hit him with another string of bad luck. As the 2008 financial crisis rolled around, Wings found himself without a job. In order to try and pay rent, he would start a YouTube channel titled Wings of Redemption. With the amazing power of hindsight, I can say for certain that this was easily one of the worst decisions he could have ever made considering how the rest of his life would turn out. But at the time, it seemed like a good idea. After posting a test video with no voiceover, he would post his first COD commentary video. Now, I definitely bought oranges. I'm a young chipper lad with plenty of years ahead of myself, dying at 40. So I've asked my elderly 25-year-old friend that does YouTube what YouTube was like back in the day. According to the Ancient Fossil, Call of Duty commentary videos were one of the most popular video formats on the website at the time. Even if someone was not necessarily a COD channel, the gameplay from COD was often excellent B-roll for anyone who wants to yap on the internet about random topics. At least nowadays, we've clearly evolved from such a primitive boring game. Gameplay commentary has been closely linked for over a decade, and even YouTubers like Optimus still use this format to this day and are still successful. Wings certainly wasn't the first to invent this format, but unlike the legions of other COD commentary channels, Wings was able to make something of himself on the platform and see long-term success with the format. After an admittedly lackluster first video, Wings of Redemption went on that commentary channel grind. Before he knew it, he was pumping out multiple videos a week, and thanks to the algorithm at the time, it was giving his channel a lot of traction. Now, this content during this era is not something I could see myself watching, partly because I haven't cared about COD in like 7 years, but I can understand the appeal of a person just sitting down and yapping about something that interests them. Sometimes we just need some background noise to put on our second monitor and forget about things while someone on YouTube endlessly drones on in a long drawn out sentence without any punctuation or pauses just to see if you're really listening or not and if you're distracted. Mini asthma attack aside, Wings of Redemption has begun to garner a reputation not only on YouTube, but in the game itself. He even changed his name to Intense Camping Productions to poke fun at the fact that he camped. Who would have guessed COD would have been the perfect mirror of Wings' life? Doing the absolute bare minimum and still complaining about not reaping the best rewards. Now, I once again asked my decaying fossil of a friend for a perspective on camping back in the day. Since I, the second coming of Christ, am way too young to be playing these lame old games, at the time, camping in COD was a very divisive subject in the community, as a lot of people complained that it was a very lame way to play the game. While some may have disagreed, the criticism was not unfounded. Wings was someone who made it his objective to defend a strategy like camping. He chose this hill to plant his tent on and fight for the right to camp until the bitter end, like any true American hero. He was a person who defended camping like it was something which actually mattered, and would frequently engage with his comments denouncing camping. To absolutely no one's surprise, this often ignited a flame war in the comment section of nearly every video, where Wings would delete the comment if he was getting rinsed too hard. Due to more eyes than ever being put on Wings, his audience had grown to such a point that he was consistently being harassed on the only social media platform at the time, Xbox Live messaging system.
You sent me a message first, yeah? I live in Smethwick, Birmingham, if you want the fucking brawl.
People would send friend requests, messaging him, asking him for advice, join his games to snipe him, ruin his KD, as well as his win-loss ratio. Those numbers really matter to him for some reason. Once again, the god gamer best in his class was being thwarted by outside forces, the invasive species, teenagers of too much free time, due to these filthy teenagers ruining his livelihood. Wings of Redemption would actually have to try to win his games? What? I know, I scared a lot of lazy bums watching this, son, I'm sorry. But jokes aside, the only real issue I could see were people joining his game to deep throw their mics. I get it though. When people join your game just to be as obnoxious as possible and ruin your fun just because you're famous online, that can be frustrating. But whatever you do, you cannot tell them it annoys you, because there's this thing called the Streisand effect where
if I'm playing in a game, I don't want y'all to come in and try to join the game, because what happens is you actually use my tips against me. I mean, I don't want to have to try hard every game I play. Oh, and don't ask me what my size and stuff.
Oh no. After making it abundantly clear that this type of harassment was an easy way to get to him, and even trying to shut it down, the harassment only got worse instead, releasing videos on how people were using his own tips against him, and purposely trying to ruin his games shockingly made it happen more. A similar video would also be made shortly after this, where he complains about his low ratings, which is another habit he never grew out of, but we'll get to that in a minute.
My videos get around 2,000 views now, and they're still only getting 200 ratings. I spent a lot of time in these videos, and if you could just click any of the stars, I don't care if you want a 1 star, put a lot of time into them. Could you please just help me out, and when you watch the videos, put a just put a rating on it. Because I put a lot of videos out. I'm not like other commentators that put one video out a week, or they have time to go back and do the animations and all this thing. I forget to do a lot of that mess because I just put videos out in bulk.
Outside of these two very minor speed bumps, things were looking very good for Wings. Even if he would often complain about his losses being unfair and out of his control, he still gathered a reputation as an honest guy who would tell you what was on his mind. Honesty and relatability can go a long way for YouTubers, which is why I have compiled a list of things that make me connect to you people. Do you guys have TikTok? I love TikTok. I use it all the time to look at videos. And what else? Oh yes, the pandemic was so bad. And based on my age demographic, I can tell that 50% of you at least have experienced that, and that wasn't okay. Where was I? Right. Wing started complaining about the ethics of, oh for fuck's sakes, the ethics of quickscoping because it wasn't a realistic part of the game. He actually went on to attack another COD YouTuber for quickscoping. I have to give a rare bit of praise for Wings here. He was incredibly accurate with the stones he was throwing because he could see out of every direction of his glass fucking house when he threw them. Seeing as his first year on YouTube was spent defending his lame strategy, it felt a bit hypocritical to then complain about quickscoping. Now, I know these two strategies are not comparable by their nature, but I feel it's worth pointing out. Wings and Hutch would make a rather friendly debate video on the topic. I hope you could see my air quotations. Now, I say friendly, but it's very clear that there's some tension between the two of them. Wings lists some stuff about his life, like his use of ebonics, but it becomes pretty clear that the debate isn't going to resolve much of anything.
Yo, it's your boy, Wings of Redemption.
Wow. That's quite an intro, buddy. Why don't you take it down a notch? Just, take it down maybe another 14 decibels.
Oh, the ebonics thing is something that my channel came accustomed to. I stopped it at one point, and people requested me to bring it back. It's not how I actually
Where are you
talk.
from that you're speaking ebonics?
I'm from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I actually grew up in the Holt Garden Project.
You ought to get slapped in the nuts for speaking ebonics if you're from North Carolina.
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Oh, are you white?
Unsurprisingly, the two YouTubers don't reach a consensus and Wings just moves on. From this point on, Wings starts posting more videos of him just talking as well as pictures of his guns, which I am sure nobody in America side-eyes. Not one, because everybody in America owns a gun. It was here that Wings made a few friends in the community. Some of these content creators are still around to this day too. The first of these new content creator friends was Woody's Gamertag and FPS Carl, who he would eventually make a podcast with. The podcast he started with Woody and FPS Carl would feature the three of them just sitting around and just talking. I mean, what else did you expect from a podcast? Let's be real here. He would also partner with Machinima, like 3 or 4 years before every YouTuber got screwed over by them. Things were going so good for Wings that when his old job contacted him to rehire him, he declined it. Money was good right now, and his videos were doing great. Nothing would ever go wrong, and his channel would forever be known in its current success. I feel like this is a good time to say that I'm probably going to seek higher education, so I have a backup plan if this whole YouTube thing doesn't work out. Things did not in fact stay deja vu, as once again an outsider would come into Wings' life to take away all of the success he earned. The Federation of Whole Gamers. FAG was a trolling group centered around YouTube gaming pranks and freakouts. Channels like this were pretty common back in the day, but the FAGs had someone no one else had: Keemstar. Keemstar is someone who needs no introduction. Referring to him as just some guy isn't doing him justice. Unfortunately for Wings, Keemstar had beef with him, surely not because of his own actions. He tried to get Keem's channel taken down. When that didn't work, Wings introspected on his decisions, analyzing his options, formulating some sort of light Yagami style plan in order to save his channel and get Keem off his back, is what I would say if he was a lame baby with a sense of self-preservation.
Alright, well I got your DJ Keem, so I'll run some stuff by you. Is your P.O. box?
That's
0?
correct. That's correct.
Is your street address?
That's incorrect. That's incorrect.
Right,
I don't give my personal where I live at. I don't give that out.
Is your girlfriend named?
Yes, she is.
Is there a phone number?
Can I ask you why you're trying to get my personal information?
I'm just trying to see how much of this is correct, because I gave some of this information to Fisticuffs.
You gave my personal information to Fisticuffs?
Yep.
Okay, so should I find out what trailer park you live in and announce that to the world?
I don't live in a trailer park, my man.
Wait,
I
wait.
own
So
10
what,
acres
what,
of
was,
land.
Could have
what was
fooled
the
me.
motive? What was the motivation behind this action?
This is well, basically, I did some digging and I tried to find everything I could find out about him in case he actually did drop my YouTube channel.
Wings ended up doxing Keemstar, which is bloody hilarious. Not because I think Keem deserves to be doxed, but because this is like the first battle at the Valley of the End in Naruto Part 1. Neither of them knew that their fates are tied together yet. Listen to the smugness in Wings' voice while he brags about doxing Keem. I'm surprised the phase, "I gotcha, didn't I?" didn't come out of his mouth during this whole debacle. But it's okay, guys. Doxing Keemstar was okay because Wings ended up donating money to a struggling family. What a swell guy. Things seem to go in a weird kind of circle by this point. Some comments were insulting Wings, he shoots back with a whole ass video, they rinse him in the comment sections, he makes another video, repeat. For some reason, Wings took a lot of pride in his gaming skills and YouTube success because I guess we need to take our W's while we can. The issue I have is when we started to belittle other people to make himself look better. It just felt so unnecessary and petty. Like, why even bother? If that isn't the mark of an insecure person, I don't know what is. But what did Wings possibly have to be insecure about? I mean, his channel still paid the bills and he was a self-made man who came up with nothing. It wasn't a problem that his only skills were being good at COD. It was fine, it was working right now. This was an incredibly sustainable path for him, as we all know. I mean, that's why I'm gonna title this video, Wings of Redemption. Successful YouTuber guy. Apparently he was making 10k a month by this point, which is very unlikely, but he was definitely still earning quite a bit of money for himself. That tap would never ever run dry. I'm being told the tap has run dry. When Wings decided to turn all of his venom from comment sections to other creators in his space, he would soon find himself with more trouble than he truly knew what to deal with. Because while commentators under your YouTube video can't really fight back, someone with a comparable or greater audience most certainly can. Syndicate was one of the most popular and influential channels in his space, having amassed nearly 10 million subscribers today. Wings decided it would be a great idea to flame this guy and tell him that he sucks at video games. Wings claimed that he was a better zombies, a game mode he knows clearly nothing about based on the stuff he's saying during this live stream, than someone whose main success was off of that exact game mode. And judging by how confidently wrong Wings was talking his shit, he genuinely believed he could win. That was until he pussied out and told Syndicate to meet him on his turf instead of with a proper 1v1. You're not gonna believe what happened next. Despite being in his preferred game mode, Wings still somehow managed to lose. For at least the second time in his life, Wings got lapped by a European. Okay, the same dude who said he could beat Syndicate at zombies couldn't even beat Syndicate at a proper match. And to make things even worse, Wings complained that Syndicate was camping.
Is he still sitting over there, just crouching?
I'm sorry, I can't tell you where he is. It wouldn't be right.
Look here,
I'm watching
let
where
me.
he is.
Why don't you go and make a comment that there's not been a shot fired in almost 2 minutes because Syndicate's laying on his belly somewhere.
The guy who made it his entire life's mission to advocate for camping playstyles had to get beaten at his own game to finally change his mind about camping. That's like if an anti-vax guy took a vaccine. Oh wow, that is way more common than I thought. To this day, I have not recovered from the second-hand embarrassment I suffered watching Wings humiliate himself to millions of people. With his foundations crumbling beneath him, Wings had only one option left to him. Take a deep breath, owning up to his mistakes and working towards redemption. Finally gaining those wings of redemption. Just kidding, this is a COD player we're talking about. He went completely mental after losing, blaming everything and everyone but himself. Normally he could have edited this unsportsmanlike conduct out of the video, but unfortunately for him, this was done live. What was done, and nothing he said could truly ever be taken back.
Wings, did you spawn in?
I broke my controller.
You broke your controller?
Yeah, keep fucking laughing, you fucking faggot.
Oh, Wings, I've been where you are. I know it's
Oh, don't
bad days.
suck. Fucking.
This loss clearly got to Wings so badly he tried to pay off Syndicate to throw the game just so he could even things up, which is new levels of pathetic. This only added fuel to this already blazing dumpster fire of a situation. Imagine not only losing the most important match of your life, but getting caught trying to rig the game by getting on your hands and knees and begging the other guy to throw for you. Wings would drop a video titled "I'm Only Human" in an effort to justify his actions.
I hate losing. I hate losing with a passion. I hate losing even more when I'm the only person that has something to lose. And it's something I've been trying to get over all my life. I mean, even when I was a child, I could not stand losing. It feels like I've failed in every form and manner, period, when I lose. I felt like I wasn't good enough to the point where it's like, maybe I shouldn't be playing.
That went as well as you would expect. Wings had officially OD'd on copium and became one of the fattest lolcows on the internet. Like, damn, if that were me, I would have just tried to take a break from the internet for a little bit or something. Unfortunately, by 2012, Wings had successfully kneecapped his channel and was out of money. Man, it would have been nice if he hadn't rejected the offer to get his old job back, huh? Wings tweeted out that if he was to kill himself, he would take another creator with him. And Keemstar, remember him, guys? Keemstar saw those dollar signs lighting up. You see, Wings still loved to act high and mighty despite his substantial fall off. He still insulted everyone who had a problem with him. He would insult people who have to work a 9 to 5 and throw himself a pity party just in case he was still hoping he'd turn things around.
Wings is here right now and he has something to say about your job.
Okay, good.
Go ahead, Wings.
I told you what it is. You're a production supervisor. You walk around with your hands in your pockets. You probably ain't turned a wrench in 8 years, and you want to sit there and talk about gall of working hard. So you have a cake job. Your job is cake. What you do is you hold your hands in your pocket. You wait till the safety meeting in the morning so you can suck up to some big wig's dick. Then you go home and you drink your Miller Lite while it sounds like you're doing.
A year later, Machinima dropped him. Let's be honest though, that was a blessing in disguise. But right now, Wings was in a bit of a rut, which if I'm being honest is perfectly understandable. At one point, he was respected in his community, and now he was nothing more than a laughingstock who could not rehabilitate his image no matter what he did, even if he did try in the first place. And even though I can understand it, I also don't really feel sorry for him, because this was all self-inflicted. It can take years to build up a good reputation, but it can only take a single bad day for it to all come crashing down. And what can someone do in a situation like that other than try to pick themselves up? And no, this isn't a fake or anything. He actually did something I find very admirable. He refused to give up. Whether it was because he was stubborn or had finally found the will to be a better person, he committed himself to losing weight, and he actually did. In a series called FPS Bootcamp, he worked on 2 goals. The first was to lose weight, and the other was to get money through a GoFundMe to pay for a professional trainer so he could stay healthy and keep himself honest. He actually did the impossible and burned the weight, which was really good. With the help of his old friends and some consistency, Wings was able to achieve what many fail to do themselves. Let this be a story that shows us that no matter how far we fall or how difficult our obstacles we can begin to climb up from the bottom to make something of ourselves. At least until we hit a plateau and decide progress isn't happening fast enough, only to tumble right back down to the bottom of the hole you've dug yourself into. Something Sisyphus analogy or whatever. Wings decided that because he wasn't making any progress anymore, his best option was to quit while he was ahead. He barely managed to finish the rest of his monthly goal before hinting at getting back into old habits. Carl himself had blown a lot of money to support Wings' weight loss. He was being a really good friend.
I was taking a shower in my shower after the show, and I was washing my hair, and I bumped my elbow on the shower wall, and I was like, God, the shower is a little narrow. And then it occurred to me, Wings of Redemption could not fit into my shower. And if he was going to live with me, we would have to put in a new shower. So construction began the next day.
I think many people would dream of having a friend who could help support us through the toughest times in our lives and invest in our future without expecting anything except our own effort and dedication. But for some people like Wings, changing himself is probably the most difficult thing in the world, no matter how much help you have. The Painkiller Already podcast decided to go on a camping trip. Woody and Carl were down to go, but Wings was reluctant. And only a few hours before Carl and Woody had arrived, arrived, Wings announced that he wasn't coming. Wings had just flaked on some of his oldest YouTube friends and decided it would be better to just stay home and wallow in his own self-pity.
I'm driving in the night before, and I think to myself, hey, let me give old Wings a call, make sure we're all good to go here, you know, because it's Wings. Call him up, say, hey man, you ready to do this thing? I'm driving in now, about 3 hours from the place. What are you up to? You know, you could leave, if you left right now, you'd be here around 11, and you know, you could share this motel room with me. I could get a room with 2 beds or so. He's like, I'm not going. What? What do you mean? I'm not coming. When were you going to tell me? I'm telling you right now. What the? So I call. I text Woody. I'm like, he's not fucking going. He's not fucking going. And so Woody gets on the phone with him. Woody tries to talk, and I'm thinking like Woody's going to talk him into this. I'm still driving with this idea. Woody will talk him into this. Woody's a great motivational speaker when he needs to be, and I'm sure Woody was filling him with
compilations of me telling Wings, like, you know, if you want to be an extraordinary person, you have to do extraordinary things.
Be a winner, not a loser. Be a doer, not a don'ter. You know,
Very Henry Rollins-esque. Yeah.
Yeah, this sort of talk. You know, and he just doesn't fucking come.
Wings would later make a video justifying his actions, but as you might be able to guess, that did not go well for him. To his audience, he was being a flake, and to his friends, he was just being an asshole. After swallowing a bit of swamp water, the trip had to end ahead of time, which definitely added to the anger Kyle and Woody had for Wings. If he had been there, the vomiting incident might not have occurred. This part of the story is where things go from bad to worse, and if I'm being quite honest, it's a bit depressing. From this point, Wings would go on to make several posts about how little he valued his life. Nothing was going his way, and while he could point out the problems, he couldn't really solve any of them. While I can relate to being so disappointed of life that you can't put yourself out of a rut, I don't really get it when that rut is completely self-inflicted. Like, you got yourself here, and now somehow you don't think you can get yourself out of it? One thing you can do is, I don't know, show some ownerships of your mistakes and stay consistent with your promises to improve. That would be a start. But to make matters worse for Wings, this is around the point that his channel became unsustainable. He could barely pull 5k views in a lot of his videos, and coming from a channel with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, that sort of decline must feel soul crushing. I mean, me, Grandmaster of YouTube, Bored Oranges, have never made a terrible video that performed so poorly. Nope, not me. I've never had to private a video from shame. I mean, if I lost as many subscribers as Wings did, I would have a negative subscriber count, which is wild to think about. But hey, at least he was honest about this part.
Because around January 2013, I stopped trying as hard. I was worn out. I was posting 3 videos a day. I was doing the most I could, and my entire life revolved around numbers. What killed my channel was me. I pretty much killed my channel because I allowed myself to become so obsessed with money that I never took time out to enjoy myself, and it molded me into a person that I didn't like.
Well, at least he was half honest about this part. Seeing the decline of his YouTube channel, Wings would start streaming on Twitch more regularly. But you know, the whole bit about Syndicate and everything? You know, the one where one stream ruined his image? Yeah, funny story! Wings had not changed his behavior since that point, and was now streaming weekly. This is the equivalent of a chimpanzee hitting a nuke with a hammer. That is to say, it was a very dumb idea, and the chimp didn't even seem to realize it. Trolls came out of the woodwork to milk Wings for all he was worth. They made it a point to post as much shit as they could to piss him off in chat. Wings would be subjugated to all of the classics. Stream sniping his games, TTS abuse, chat spams, raids, you name it, they were doing it. And of course, Wings being the level-headed individual he is, who am I kidding anymore? He gave them exactly what they wanted.
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
This is the sight of a man who had been poked, prodded, and humiliated to the point that it's honestly kind of just sad to watch. Seeing someone break down on camera while people are laughing at him is just kind of uncomfortable for me. Wings was a shell of his former self at this point. He was heavier than he had ever been, his channel pretty much died in the water, and he had no opportunities in the job market. And his only fan base was a collection of trolls who wanted to see him suffer. I have no doubt Wings probably cared a lot about fixing his life, but probably not as much as he seemed to care about the trolls. A Reddit post sums this up perfectly.
Geez, how the mighty have fallen. For context, I found Wings' YouTube channel back in 2009 when I was 15. He had a couple thousand subscribers and was growing extremely fast for a gaming channel back then. 10k subscribers was like a million today. It was a big deal. Anyways, even back then he could be a bit of a dick, kind of egocentric, and was definitely a megalomaniac. But he could also be funny, witty, and he honestly did make quality videos, especially his Rifleman's Creed series. Then he found Woody's channel, which had 30 subscribers at the time, gave him some publicity, and their friendship started there. Then came Kyle, and eventually came PKA. Anyways, I stopped listening to PKA and stopped watching YouTube back around 2012. I recently came back to see how my childhood idols were doing, and holy shit, what happened to Wings? His channel is dead, which is understandable considering COD videos are dead, especially his style of COD videos. But I found out he streams on Twitch, so I went to check it out, and goddamn was it depressing. First off, when I left YouTube, he said he was going to lose weight, but he is fatter than ever. Not only that, but he's meaner than ever. He talks to his viewers like shit. One guy genuinely offered him to teach him how to properly play Rainbow Six, which Wings was struggling at, and Wings told him, if you keep backseat gaming, I'm gonna block you. Then he told a 36-month subscriber that he hopes his parents die in a car wreck because the kid beat him in a 1v1. Keep in mind, this is a 30-year-old man. On top of this, he seems very depressed now. He spends every stream just constantly bitching about how he doesn't get enough viewers to support his fat, lazy, degenerate lifestyle. It makes me feel unwanted as a fan. He also complains and gets very angry literally every time he dies. I've never heard Wings admit he got outplayed. It's always outside forces that cause him to die in game, whether it be lag, OP weapons, quote-unquote bad teammates, etc. It's literally never his fault. I even saw him throw a controller at his TV out of anger. I watched a 3-hour stream for nostalgia's sake, and someone I used to really enjoy spent the entire game crying about how he's not a famous gamer anymore, being mean and snarky to viewers, and bitching about the game he's streaming every 30 seconds. And he wonders why he isn't big time. Who would want to watch this daily? Like, is the guy mentally ill and delusional? It just makes me sad. This post is gonna come off as mean and hateful, but I'm honestly so surprised to see how far he's fallen. Also, his shirt was dirty. It looked like he hadn't showered in 3 days, and he was greasy. I really hope he can find it within himself to get his life together. Edit, he also said he had a gun in his hand and was considering killing himself because he wasn't getting the Twitch viewers he feels he deserves, and if he can't make a living off of video games, that he doesn't want to live.
As much as it's easy for me to say that he did this to himself and that no one should feel sorry for him, I can't help but feel conflicted. I don't really agree with the sentiment that this man deserves everything he got. I mean, sure, he is a lazy bum who got big off of making easy content for years and bragged about his money to the lowly commoners that watched him. I shouldn't feel bad for the guy, and yeah, I do, especially considering everything that would happen after this. Yes, while it may have seemed like we hit rock bottom, that was just an invitation for us to dig deeper. Remember those trolls? Well, this is around the time when trolls really started to get recognition thanks to a specific clip.
Look here! Look, listen!
But by this point, Wings had become far too self-aware to do it again. And while he did see a spike in troll donations for a bit, his reaction started to dull, and even the trolls didn't want to give him money anymore. Wings is a prisoner of his own laziness. He's under the idea that the only time he will quit streaming is when Twitch stops being profitable for him. But I'm gonna keep it a stack with you guys. That isn't true. At any point, Wings could have gotten a 9 to 5, and he would have likely been a lot happier because of it. He'd go outside more, he wouldn't have to deal with the online harassment he gets, and he would have a stable income to look after himself with. There are no negatives to getting a normal job, and Wings is clearly aware of this. He's always going on and on about the moment Twitch fails that he'll start looking, as if anything is truly keeping him from doing it now. Like, buddy, Twitch is already failing for you. That moment came and passed a long time ago, and you're still here clinging to it like it's working when it's not. Your life is crap. You need to get up and do something. something, anything, that isn't just rotting away in your room playing COD all day. Wings have become obsessed with the idea that a bariatric surgery, which is a surgery where they cut a piece of your stomach out so you eat less and lose weight, was somehow going to magically solve every issue he was dealing with. Once again, Wings is only seemingly one lucky break away from turning everything around. And in his mind, if he wasn't so unlucky, he'd likely be living it up right now. In the meantime though, Wings would join a troll Discord server to have a debate with one of them. And if that sounds like a stupid idea to you, then I should let you know that Wings recorded it and posted the debate so we can all look at the sheer stupidity of it all.
You guys have kept me up crying so many nights. People said, videos being made, and the fact is, like, you're going to hurt my chances to get a job later on in life. Why do you feel the need to pick on me though? Like, seriously, like,
Wings, I'll be brutally honest with you, right? The only reason that these channels exist is because you react.
Because I react, but I can't stop reacting. I'm never going to stop reacting. It's part of my personality. The fact is, like, how am I supposed to move on if you guys keep creating things?
Ignore it.
You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it, dude.
You can ignore it. You can.
We're just fans, man.
Just take the videos down. Just delete the channels.
Can't take this shit no more, man.
Wings would have another brief run-in with Keemstar, and in typical drama gnome fashion, Keemstar had the perfect plan to milk Wings for all the engagement and views he was worth.
All that clip simply states is, I don't like who you are as a person, and in my personal experience, you're one of the worst people I've ever met. Like, on a moral standpoint.
So many times. I tried to help you so many times. I got you involved with the Billionaires Challenge thing.
How about after the Billionaires Challenge, where you and Blade decided to sit there and make fun of me and call me a retard, saying that you hope Wings continues to make videos forever so you can laugh at me? What about that?
But that's the strongest thing you have going for you. I mean, Wings things.
What about the lie you just said just a while ago, where you said you're wing tings? What about you're not wing tings?
And I'll tell you what, Wing Tings is entertaining. And you know why it's entertaining? Because it's all your fuck-ups. Like you crying and you being upset. That is the most entertaining thing about you. I'm sorry, Wings, but it is. It always has been.
And I'm trying to use that to better myself. I got this surgery. I'm gonna get the surgery done. I'm gonna shed one of my biggest catalysts in my entire life, hopefully. Hopefully I can find the strength to do that.
This comment seemed to finally spur Wings to get the bariatric surgery. According to Wings, it was the only way he could lose weight. But oh dear viewer, there's another twist. In order to get the surgery, Wings would have to lose 50 pounds to actually be eligible for it. The reason for this is because some patients are so obese that the fat in their bodies can get in the way of the incisions they have to make. Basically, without losing 50 pounds, doctors would have to make more cuts and Wings would have to spend a much longer time recovering from the surgeries. Even his old podcast mates were speculating if Wings would actually be able to lose the weight to get the surgery done. By now, it seemed as if the surgery was pretty much Wings' only plan for losing weight. He was putting every egg in this basket, planting his flag in the ground and making his final stand on this hill. If this didn't work, nothing would. Wings actually did manage to get the surgery, but if I'm going to be honest, no amount of surgery is going to change your mentality in a relationship with food. That sort of change needs to come from within, and even if a drastic surgery like that might help, it's also not a magic bullet, and it's definitely no substitute for a consistent and honest effort to better oneself. During this time, Wings was also swatted, which I don't know if I need to tell you guys, but I will anyways. No one deserves to be swatted because that shit is dangerous and people can die. After the swatting incident, his trolls went insane. Someone was doxxed for showing the positive parts of Wings' stream, and many of them went out of their way to try and poison Wings' marriage with his wife. At this point, if you're in Wings' position, what do you even do? The answer was basically just to give up. He wasn't even trying to save his image anymore. He would neglect his real world responsibilities to sit at home and play video games. At this point, Wings became everything my mum thinks a YouTuber will become. And even though I disagree with the doxing and harassment, I just can't bring myself to be sorry for him anymore. I don't feel bad for this dude. He cries about how tough his life is, only to get bailed out by good, supportive people in his life, just to then go back on and dig himself right back into that hole someone else dragged him out of. It can be difficult to change, but I don't think Wings ever truly had the discipline to be a better person, nor the intention. For Wings, it's always about how other things are to blame, how he's just unlucky, or that other people are unfair, or any other the number of pitiful excuses. But at the end of the day, the only one responsible for where Wings is right now is Wings himself. Instead of whining on and on about how unfortunate and pitiful your life is, he could acknowledge a lot of the good things in it, and maybe acknowledge that he was the one to ruin those good things. He should be taking ownership of his mistakes, but he never does, no matter who tries to help him. It is incredible how much this man can waste his life from the very start. Wings can be a person who quits the second things get hard, whether it was the European kid running faster than him, YouTube's change in their algorithm, or even just losing the weight that quote unquote controls his life. Wings pussied out of every turn to overcome his obstacles. He is a defeatist to his core, and the worst part about it isn't even him. It's the bastards who enable this man to continue throwing a pity party for himself. Wings wouldn't be here if people didn't obsess over him to the point of feeding into his victim complex and entrenching him in this toxic lifestyle. And the more people prop up Wings as their target, the more it becomes apparent that the only way this ends is when one of the sides literally dies. It's a frustrating thing to see someone with so much opportunity in life squandering it all. It's frustrating to see someone surround themselves with enablers and toxic trolls who only want to use them as their internet punching bag. Watching someone rot in their own homes thinking about everything that could have been. A slow and gradual self-destruction made public for everyone to see whether they want to or not. It's a reminder to all of us that this is who we can become if we make too many excuses for ourselves. If we just run from any sort of challenge and refuse to hold ourselves accountable to commitments we made. If you have a goal in life, the lesson of this video is simple. What would Wings of Redemption do? Once you've got that thought in your head, do the exact opposite. Thanks for watching. I want to quickly thank my channel members, only the $5 ones because, you know, $1 not enough. Get owned. Sabin, The Wolf Drake, Hobby Yellow, Levi, Nate Russman, Ishafel's Fire, King Johnny TH445, Ant, Pwep, Nekocho Official, Grizzlybed 1996, and Kinda Snowy. That's the end of the video. I don't have much else to say, but I should have already streamed before this comes out. I hope you checked it out. If you didn't, it's on my second channel, which should have a video up very soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Referee Sheamus stops the contest, and therefore your winner, Wings.